Hi everybody, this is Derek with Lare Garden Center and Sarah's behind the camera.
Hey everybody.
Today I'm going to show you how to prune some perennials, a couple of them, and a grass. And the first one we're going to work on is this dianthus right here. And I just wanted to show it because this is a semi-evergreen perennial, meaning that the leaves will still appear green even in the spring. So after the snow melts, there'll be a little bit of green on that one. And actually, if you pan over to that, it's kind of like a perennial geranium right there in the end. You'll see a few green leaves in there. If you ever come across a perennial like that, they don't really need any extra work at this time. So you can see the dead bloom heads. It's okay to take those off. Maybe if there's a little bit of brown like on this side. A lot of times you can take your hand and just brush it across and it gets it out. And this would also work for perennial creeping phlox as well. In some winters, in heavier snow cover years, usually there's less brown. In less snow cover years, there'll be more brown and you may have to do a little trimming, but for the most part, those are easy and that would be considered good for this one. And from here, we're walking over to an Amsonia plant. So you have all this material that's left up on top. So this one's gonna be a little bit different. I was also gonna mention, it's late February right now, and typically I would want to wait till mid-March so that it's warm enough for all the native bees and pollinators to leave this material because they'll overwinter in it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cut it, but I'm going to leave it behind, and that's how we're going to deal with that part. But for the Amsonia, just let me kind of get in here. This is just one that needs to be cut all the way back to the ground. So I'm just going to take the pruners and work at it, cutting it all the way back to the ground. I'm just going to cut like that and expose the crown. I always like to cut these off because a lot of times, especially if it's later, you'll see all the new growth starting to come out. This one's kind of and sometimes you can even just break it off like that. The only thing is, though, I'm going to mention with the pulling, like I just did, you really want to test it first, because if you just go yank out parts of your perennials like I just did, some of them will actually pull up and you don't want to damage it. So when in doubt, just cut. There's really only a few perennials that you can pull on. I'm almost done. I just pulled the sign out. Got to put that back in so we know what it's called. All right, and pretty much that's how you do it. What do you think, Sarah?
Looks good. That went very quickly.
What looked better, when it was on top or when it was cut off? I'm waiting for your answer.
Ooh.
You better say, I don't know.
Let's say it looks better now since you just went through all that work.
Okay, so now we're going to walk over to the grasses over here because these are a little bit different. Grasses, these are a little bit harder to clean. A lot of times don't expect growth starting to come out until really late into April, sometimes end of May. But for those, this is a big blue stem grass, and actually I picked the right grass because this is the only grass that I have in my landscape that I don't have to cut. You can just literally pull it out just like that. But this is the only grass that happens with. All the other grasses you'll be cutting like this because you'll notice that it just won't pull up. You'll go to pull it up and it will just stay in. Was going to mention you'll want to wear gloves, especially while you're doing grasses, because you can get like little paper cuts, even though I guess it would be grass cuts in this case, but they're kind of painful, so I recommend wearing gloves. And then I wanted to show you a personal trick that I like to do when I'm cutting grasses. Cut it as low as you can like that, and then you're left, over the time, this will get very dark and just kind of full of dead leaves. So I like to kick it, and it'll actually break a lot of that dead wood, I guess I'm going to call it, but it's actually not wood, it's just like thatch material. If you kick that out, it'll expose it to more sun, and it will grow better and fuller. And I'm going to show you how I do that. You just literally use it like a boot brush. Put that back on. There we go. So watch this. See how that clears that out? and then just kind of pull it out. And you can do that with any of your grasses, and it will really help them grow. So that's how you cut perennials. We're going to go ahead and end this one here, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.